Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about FIFA boss Gianni Infantino delivering a very woke message before the World Cup over in Qatar. Now, if you know about Qatar, this is a Muslim nation. It's right there by Saudi Arabia, UAE, Yemen, Oman, Kuwait, Iraq, Iran. It's in that part of the world. So when you go over there, there are certain things you can and cannot do. Drinking alcohol is not really permitted. Unless you are a foreign dignitary, you could do cocaine, alcohol, whatever you want, but that's a different story and not digress. The point is, if you're going to be at the World Cup as a normie, you're not going to drink alcohol, you're not going to be wearing certain things, you are in a Muslim nation and you got to follow their rules and their laws. There's also some other stuff going on aside from the whole Muslim thing that's causing controversy, and Gianni Infantino was trying to defend them, talking about how can we as Europeans try to talk down to them? We owe them an apology. And before I go too far into it, let's roll these clips. And of course, as always, these will be available in the description box below if you want to see and hear them without my commentary. Here's the first one about the whole apology thing. Let's go ahead and roll this from CNN.
This tournament, it will be historic. This is the first World Cup to be held in the Middle East, but it's also mired in controversy, with much of the buildup focusing on human rights, from the death of migrant workers and the conditions many have endured in Qatar to LGBTQ and women's rights. But Infantino thinks the West is being hypocritical for criticizing Qatar.
I think for what we Europeans have been doing in the last 3,000 years around the world, we should be apologizing for the next 3,000 years before starting to give moral lessons. This moral lesson giving, one-sided.
And by the way, he spoke for about an hour right here. He spoke for a very long time, so this wasn't just a one-off. This was a lot that he put behind this.
It's just hypocrisy.
All right, so there you have it. There's Gianni, but there's more here. There's much more that we can get into. Let's play this clip right here. And I think there are more clips after this and another one. Let's play this one here.
We are told many, many lessons from some Europeans, from the Western world. I'm European. Actually, I am European.
Now, to be clear, he is from Switzerland, but obviously Gianni Infantino, he's Italian as well. But he's from Switzerland.
Not just I feel European. I think for what we Europeans have been doing in the last 3,000 years around the world, we should be apologizing for the next 3,000 years.
I know we just played this, but it's just a little bit more context behind what we just played. Like, I want you to hear what CNN said about the human rights violations and a summary of this, but here's just a little bit more context and an extended version. And then we're going to get into more comments he made, including what I played at the very beginning, and then some comments that come after that from other people.
Before starting to give moral lessons to people. How many of these European or Western business companies who earn millions and millions from Qatar or other countries in the region, billions every year, how many of them have addressed migrant workers' rights with the authorities? I have the answer to you. None of them.
Okay, if that's the case, then does it make what's happening in Qatar right if it is happening? Because just so we're on the same page, a lot of migrant workers come to places like Qatar and Saudi and whatnot, and they get treated like almost like slaves. Now, the thing is, they come voluntarily, so it's not like they're not enslaved, but they get treated almost like that. They have very, very, very bad conditions, but it's not really a big deal if you're going out there to the World Cup, if you're Gianni Infantino, you want to kind of kick the can down the road and pass the buck. Meanwhile, I mean, you still have deplorable conditions. That's not going to change it all because you don't want to address it head on. Now, I'm not saying it should or it shouldn't be, but you're talking about hypocritical. I mean, you're hypocritical, trying to point the finger elsewhere rather than take responsibility for what's happening right now. And you are the head of FIFA, so you should be really involved with this. But it is what it is. You know, money trumps all, I suppose.
None of them. Because any change in the legislation means less profit. Instead of 1 billion, well, you maybe make only 900 million. But we did. And FIFA generates much, much, much less than any of these companies from Qatar.
Okay, so that's that. Now, here's more. I could play this entire thing where he's like, well, today I feel like I'm a Qatari and I'm African, I'm an Arab, and I'm X, Y, and Z. I could play that, but I'll skip ahead a little bit and we can just keep on going from there.
Today I feel gay.
That was really kind of, I promise that was just a coincidence. I just happened to land right there. I did not know he was going to say that right there at that moment.
Today I feel disabled.
So all these things are the same, right? Being gay, being Arab, Qatari, black, disabled. That's all under one umbrella. Oh, okay. Cool.
Today I feel a migrant worker. I don't have to defend in any way whatsoever Qatar. They can defend themselves. I'm defending football here.
But look at where you're at, though. You're in Qatar. The FIFA event is in Qatar. So what are we talking about?
Justice. Today I feel.
All right, so that's that. Now, let's go ahead and play some of the reactions to this.
You do not know what it feels like to be gay, Infantino. You do not know what it feels like to be disabled. You do not know what it feels like to be African. And you cannot conflate being discriminated against because of red hair and freckles to what any of the groups you've just referenced have experienced. You cannot negate their experience by just saying you feel.
Well, you know what? I got a question. Aren't we in the era of I can identify as however I want to identify as? So if Infantino says, you know what, I identify as X, Y, and Z, if I identify as African or a migrant worker, why can't he just be that? Why must you come in and run this parade? Why must you try to act like he doesn't know what he's talking about or try to invalidate his experience, his lived experience? You should be supporting him, correct? Maybe I'm just kind of spitballing here, but let's keep on going.
What they feel. It is an absolutely astounding address from the FIFA president. And it's probably even more astounding that he is being re-elected unopposed after being able to say stuff like this.
Yep, they don't really care. Let's keep on going. If you want to see that full thing, I'll link to it, of course, in the box. Here's another one.
Literally in the last 60 seconds had an email from Amnesty International, just Amnesty now, isn't it, responding to those Infantino comments. This is from Steve Coburn, Amnesty International's head of economic and social justice, specifically with regards to Gianni Infantino's comments about migrant workers over here, who you heard him say there he thought had been properly protected. And Steve Coburn from Amnesty says, quote, in brushing aside legitimate human rights concerns, Gianni Infantino is dismissing the enormous price paid by migrant workers to make this flagship tournament possible, as well as FIFA's responsibility for it. Demands for equality, dignity and compensation cannot be treated as some sort of culture war. They are universal human rights that FIFA has committed to respect in its own statutes.
Well, that's that. Now, here's more. There's a lot because, you know, the World Cup is big. The World Cup is the whole world. I think the most popular sport in the world is what they call football, what we call soccer over here in the States. So this is very, very important. People are really upset at the whole situation, and it is what it is. I think with any kind of World Cup event, if you have it in a place like Qatar, it's going to be some issues because of the way that they operate over there being different than the way the rest of the world operates. And I'm kind of surprised here that they're really criticizing Qatar because normally they would just keep hands off with a Muslim nation like that because they're Muslim and they don't want to be seen as racist or xenophobic or Islamophobic.
Now, as far as migrant workers are concerned, I thought it was insulting what he said, because he started off his speech by saying, "Today I feel like a migrant worker." Well, with all due respect, how can he say that? He's the president of FIFA. I think he gets paid reportedly more than $1 million a year to be the FIFA president, and he says he feels like a migrant worker. Now, we know thousands of migrant workers have died building the stadiums and the infrastructure that has been required to host this World Cup.
So there was a number floated around. I'm not sure if it's true or false, but it's been out there. They said 6,500 migrant workers died getting Qatar ready for the World Cup. Now, I don't know if that's true or if that's false, but I have seen the number floated around. Again, 6,500 migrant workers. That's an allegation, not substantiated from my point of view. And if I'm wrong about that, y'all let me know in the comments below.
How can he say he feels like a migrant worker when we know so many migrant workers have been working to build these stadiums and build this infrastructure, living and working in terrible conditions and often being paid less probably than £1 an hour? I thought.
So that's that. Again, there's more. There's much more content. There's articles, there's videos and everything about this. I may want to do another video about this particular situation because there's so much going into it. But I wanted to show you Gianni Infantino's woke speech. Again, he spoke for over an hour. Like, that was just a piece of it. If I could find the full speech, I'll link to it in the description. But you kind of see what was going on there. He's trying to defend Qatar and the whole Muslim thing and the migrant worker situation, trying to defend that because he's the president of FIFA and you're having the World Cup. So you got to protect the product. You have a fiduciary responsibility as a president, right? CEO, president, any kind of high-level person like that, if you're on the board, you got stock, you have a fiduciary responsibility to do the best thing for the company and not to strip the company of money. If he was to say, hey, man, human rights violations are terrible here, all these migrant workers died getting ready for us, that'd be a big hit on him. So he must say things that are going to be positive for FIFA and for the World Cup. So it is what it is. But, of course, when guys get caught in these kind of situations, they go really woke. They get really woke. Oh, I feel like I'm a Qatari. I feel like I'm an Arab. That's how they do. It was pretty interesting to see how woke stuff gets used, I guess, successfully, because some may be outraged, but at the end of the day, World Cup's still going on, and there's not going to be any kind of slowdown here, if I'm not mistaken. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about what's going on here with the president of FIFA and Qatar and the whole Muslim situation, migrant worker situation? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I'm at. This is a very interesting event, a very interesting way to try and get out of responsibility, to try and get out of accountability. And why? It's all about getting money, really, at the end of the day. Okay, I understand what it is, and I knew what it was going to be from the beginning. I know how the Muslim world works over in that part of the world. I know how Saudi and Qatar, they say, oh, well, no LGBT, no alcohol, none of that for the regular normies, for the commoners, and they accept it. It pretty much works for them. But then once you go up in that skybox, once you get them foreign dignitaries in there and diplomats and whatnot, oh, they got cocaine, methamphetamines, weed, drink, whatever you want. They got it all. Okay, allegedly, from what I hear, allegedly. I've not partaken in any of this, but that's what I've heard from reliable sources. But whatever your thoughts are, y'all let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.